Good morning, afternoon, guys. Prophetess Rezand here to go over the dream state. Because once you start unhook from the matrix, and I can tell you guys more about that. But once you unhook from the matrix, you start to dream in color, right? You start to have dreams of certain color depending on what status that you're at, right? So the first dream I'm going to go over for you guys is going to be this political dream. So the dream was I was in the White House with Kamala Harris, right? And I was watching her from her mirror and watching what was going on. So first things first, she had a little what is it called? Like a chip hooked on a string. And she was putting the chip down her mouth, right? And then after it got to a certain point in her body, she would pull it up. So my thoughts on that is that they're not taking these vaccines. Even the big people, they say that they are, but it's a fake. They're not really taking vaccines or the COVID vaccine. The other dream is she was on her desk, on a big desk, and she was writing whatever. And then from the back, I saw a knife stab about this big. A knife stab, and it was bleeding about that big in her back on her lower vertebrae, the lower one, like right around here. And signifying that somebody stabbed her in the back, but she died. In this dream, she died, and I was watching her. She was just there, and then the chip. There was a chip that came out of her back, where the knife moon was. So this could also signify that in the government, she has been stabbed in the back and marked for death. Because the last thing they want to see is a black woman president. Last thing they want to see. Because number one, hey, mommy, no. Girl. The last thing they want to see. So after that dream, I went with Obatala, one of my followers, to Africa, to Benin. I was like, I need to get in the water there. Like, I really need to just be in a space of contentment and relax. And so I'm there, and I'm in the water, and I'm just floating on my back, and it is the most beautiful day. It was just like, this is the most perfect, inviting environment, right? So then I look up in the sky, and the clouds are all weird looking. And I'm like, what is going on? Why am I just seeing these weird clouds? And then the water tells me, look beyond. So when I adjusted my eyes, I saw hella motherfucking crafts just going everywhere in the air. So it was like a glass ceiling, a glass ceiling. So the sky wasn't even the sky. It was a projection down to the bottom. So when I was looking up at the sky, and then the crafts were everywhere, and then the water was talking to me and said, you are close. She said, you are closer than what you think. We are closer than what you think. When we say that this war is happening in the stars, it's happening right above your head. So I was just in awe that I can actually see through the clouds and start to see the spacecraft going back and forth. So that was my dream number 2. Okay. So that one happened before the Kamala Harris dream. Um and I will tell you guys why I put it on Deep State Orange, because there are some next things that are coming that I have to address to you guys. So the other dream that I have was I was in Russia. So I went to go visit some family in Russia, and I was chilling, about to go, and it was really, really cold in the air, and these animals started coming out of the forest there, and there was these black wolves, right? And they were coming out of the forest to come to get me, because it was nighttime, chilly, cold. So they were coming. Their eyes were bright red, and then I saw them all. It was like maybe like 10, 15. I saw them all coming. And so I looked at them, and then my eyes turned red, and they went like, oh, oh, oh. And then I telepathically told the wolves, I said, sit your ass down before I come for you and bite your ass. And they all went around like, ah, and scurried away. So that was one of my dreams too. And I couldn't remember what happened after that, because I was so like in when you get to the angry state where your eyes turn red, where you're so mad where your eyes turn red. That's where I was. So there's so many dreams that happened last night. Oh, so I want to talk about this because I've been trying to shun away this identity of mine. Um, so memories started coming back from a long time ago, like when I actually had ruled over a certain area, and I was trying to pass out a lot of what I had, like, to usher in a new, to just give it, just not just sit in luxury all the time, but go about and do my due diligence and giving to people, right? So I'm trying to shun. I was trying last night so hard to shun this identity because of the association with um a couple things, infidelity, um with just a couple things that I don't feel really comfortable with this identity that I had reincarnated in a long time ago. But it really gave me a sense of, I'm gonna put this identity on somebody else, like another feminine, because you know I can't be everybody. I'm not everybody who is fucking a warrior or popular or something like that. I was like, this has to be somebody else. And then these memories in my dreams started to come back, and it was like somebody was reading it to me, like someone was narrating, and they were talking to me about, I don't even want to talk about. They were talking to me about how when I was married in the spiritual realm way back in the day, every once in a while. So it's like this. Imagine you know that your higher self is there, right? So you know your higher self is there. Your higher self has its whole life, has its whole identity, and has its whole thing. So this is your destiny, who is dropping the important key parts down to the physical so she can manifest. So basically, you are the seed of your higher self, right? So if you are a seed and you are supposed to grow and plant and be a plant and identify. So you have to start eating for your body, which I'm messed up again. I had oatmeal and a half a bagel, but still I'm working on it. My skin is getting better, you know, hair is getting better. So she was passed me the information to walk accordingly to her steps, because we have to be in sync. Me and my higher self have to be in sync, right? So I was watching the Will Smith movie with the Serena Williams, King Richard. So fucking good. I recommend it 10 times. I cried. And I'll just say, Will Smith, you did an amazing job. The girls did an amazing job. The mother did an amazing job. The coaches even did an amazing job. Like the acting, I was like, costume designers, all of that. I was all for it. So he was reading me this story about how in the spiritual realm there was oh, I hate this part. In the spiritual realm, our souls had made a pact and a connection that when we got to the earth, that we would consummate the union on earth. So when you get married in the spiritual and you consummate it on the physical, that brings forth a child that was of spirit, right? That was of spirit first. Because most of the time for me, it's for me at least, I have a lot of children in the spiritual realm, like a lot of children in the spiritual realm, and they are just my seeds where I go and I plant them in the heads of humans and people, and I water it every once in a while. I make sure that they get sunlight. I kind of help to shape and mold the destiny, but I am not the planter. Technically, I'm not the one who. I don't own the head. I don't own the ground. I own the air and the water. That's why I pour the water in the head. But the creator owns all heads. So we have different colors of seeds, different rankings of seeds, whether it be God seeds, Messiah seeds, king seeds, queen seeds, duplicate identity seeds. So let's just say I wanted to copy my consciousness and place it somewhere else. I can do that, but it's always going to be, it can't be 0, 1. It has to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it has its own identity, but it has a copy of mine. So when he had described himself in the spiritual, he's like, I am this, this, this. So when you look for me, just know I look like this because I chose my form to match my body, because again, like you, my form has to match with my identity. So when I tried to go in the dream realm, so this is a different, because I dream in states. So depending on what it is, it's like the whole human consciousness, it can be split up into these like little realms, just tiny realms. And that's the dream state. So when I was in orange, we are really close to red. That's emergency. That's emergency realm. That means an upcoming invasion is imminent. Like, keep our eyes open and our ears peeled because it's already here. They just fighting on a different plane. So when he described himself, I'm like, you sound very familiar. I said, but I believe if my facts are right, that you died. And that you died. And then he said, death is just another form of life. So I then in turn went to my rock, my crystal, and I started looking at it like I was on an iPad or something. I was looking for it, looking. I was like, "That's you, right?" And he goes, "That's me." He's like, "You need to find me, and we have to connect." And I was like, "Oh, sure, cool." So we then get to this identity of the Queen of Sheba, which this is the identity that I shun a lot because I said that it can't just be I can't be everybody. I can't be everybody great in history, you know? Um However, I'm going to I found a bunch of pictures that look exactly like me that they tried scrubbing from the internet, but I found it. I found one image that they kept that looked just like me. And then I'm having all of these memories popping back up that I don't really want. But I'm guessing this was a hard period in my life. A hard period because as much as much as I as much as I wanted uh as much as I want it, I dealt with a lot of shit in that lifetime. I dealt with so much shit in that lifetime that sometimes I don't want to remember it, but for some reason, something opened this whole category and this whole door to the past. And I'm now walking through each one of these doors, and it's heavy as fuck. Like, it's heavy. It's very heavy. You're so pretty, mama. Stop. Stop. Hmm. Um, so I get to one door, and this door has an 8 on it. So it said Ethiopia 8. So I open the door, and I'm sitting in this room by myself, and I'm meditating, and I have all these gold adornments around me, a mirror, um, a red pillow on the ground where I'm meditating, and I'm floating in the air, y'all. My bitch, I was floating in the fucking air while I was meditating. And as soon as I heard me shut the door, I fell. And then I fell. So when I fell, I looked at myself and she looked at me and she goes, "What are you doing here?" Again, I was like, something opened the door where I'm back in here now. I'm back in this time period. And I much rather stay in my time period because this was a very hard time in my life and in my lifetime. And she goes, yeah, it's a very lonely period. And I go, of all the people in the world, of all the people in the world that I had to, at the times that I had to go back, is I had to go back to this one. And then I sat with her. So I am looking at a motherfucking mirror. And she's staring at me and I'm staring at her. And she goes, what year is it? And I told her it's 2021. She goes, oh, almost the end. We're near. What month? And I told her the month and she goes, what? When is this? And I'm like, yeah, they fucked up the whole calendar. She goes, the calendar is supposed to be associated with this, 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 and this, and this. I was like, yeah, they don't follow that. They're in a great, great illusion. And then she goes, okay, well, here's what I need you to do. She goes, there is a cactus that's very sacred to me that I planted within this region. This cactus has an awakening button. I was like, an awakening button on a cactus? She goes, on the lower vertebrae. On the lower vertebrae, there's an awakening button that's going to awaken this cactus. And she pointed exactly what vertebrae to press, and that it will awaken the cactus. And she goes, I want you to erase time by announcing the mother of nine. Erase time by announcing the mother of nine. Okay, so I said, how would I do that? Because the platforms that I'm on in this lifetime, I have no leeway yet. Like, I have no authority for the physical yet, you know. I was like, I barely got, the physical followers. I was like, I got all the spiritual followers. They're all here chilling. But she says, oh, that's all you need. She says, the only reason that you would speak half of the words that you're saying is because God needs word to be grounded. She said, Rod needs word to be grounded. So you're not speaking for other people to hear. You're speaking for the word to bear fruit. Because what you speak will come to pass. Because what you speak when watered will come to pass. So this is why we train. They're training you to. They're training you to be on the same force as God. So I said, check on that also. A little check on that also. So then from there, I asked her the question. So this is where it gets pretty deep and intense for me. I asked her, I said, I've come to a conclusion about love, and I want you to confirm it so that I'm not, in the craziness. I go, once my heart is totally activated, And we get to the balance of mind, body, and soul, including the heart, and the heart is activated. That will activate a treaty around the whole galaxy. And she looked at me and she goes, no. She said that it will activate a treaty around an eternity if the heart is activated. And I said, around eternity, what does that mean? She goes, where no one will have to suffer anymore. That Earth has grown up to a point where the balance of good and evil is going to be dropped to a lower realm. So Earth is going to come back up to where I saw the spacecrafts. Earth's going to come back up, and you're going to birth something. And she wouldn't tell me. She's like, I can't change the future by telling you what happens, because she said she's already saw it. And she says, I will pass you visions to the future at a certain nature, to where you will start to understand once you put the puzzle pieces together. She says, I will send you the wisest of the wisest men in your era to uncode these puzzles for you. She said, because you have to focus on the healing journey that you're on. You have to focus on healing the heart. But you can't heal your heart unless you confess that you love, unless the love that you have is confessed. And I was like, I'm not confessing no love to nobody. And she goes, I know. I know. That's why. She said, you only confess it to the moon. You only confess it to the sun. You've never confessed it face to face to nobody. And I was like, I don't see that, happening. I'm not going to just break the barrier and be like, just so you know, I'm in love with you. I've never met you, and I've only talked to you in this spiritual realm, but by golly, I'm in love. Sounds silly to me. I said, I will confess it to the sun and the moon. You'll confess it to the sun and the moon, but you won't talk to them in person. I said, if I could say it in the head, then that means I confessed it technically, right? If I telepathically said that, I said I was in love with Anubis. Nope, nope. Snoop, nope. I said I was in love with him. Is that, what's going to happen from that? Nothing. Nothing's going to happen of that. This is just, we are so antiquated. Like, I said that I was in love with, a certain, see, I can't even say it. I can't, because I'm not going to embarrass myself. I'm not going to embarrass myself. I said I was in love with Kefri. Yeah. Because of his ability to give. That's beautiful. I was in love with Aganyu, Obatala, Shango, Ogun. I'm in love with these characters. That's always been my, my spiritual realm, where like, but then you get to the physical, everybody's clicked up. Everybody got their harem and everybody got all their girls and all that stuff. And I'm like, I cannot be another one. Like, I can't be another one. Like, I understand the little every pop up and flings and all that kind of stuff, but I can't be another one on, like, in the circle of harems. I can't do it. You'll be my number one bitch. Fuck you. You'll be my number one bitch. Why does it have to be the opposite? Why do I gotta be one of yours? Why can't you be one of mine? Shit. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Anyway, so let's go back to what I was saying with her. So she started giving me these gifts from the past. She's like, I got this one from this king in Dubai. I got this gift from this person. Oh, Chicken Little. Is that hair on your girl? What is going on with you? She started giving me all these gifts. She goes, now, these will easily manifest in your lifetime because the past is now grounded. I said, the past is now grounded? She goes, the past has been grounded in blood. I was like, what do you mean in blood? I haven't bled or given anything. She said, you've given something. You've given enough. And then she showed me when I was in Memphis with my mom, and I was laying dead in this abandoned apartment building with my ribs were broke, and I had blood coming out of my mouth and out of my privates, and she showed me this. She goes, "You died," and I was like, "I remember." And she goes, "What do you think? Who do you think brought you back?" I was like, "God brought me back, and took my old and made me new and put me back and said, wait in this corner until give it an hour." Give it an hour and then go to your mom. Go back to your mom and tell her what happened. And then he goes, don't tell them anything but what happened. Don't tell them about this part of you. So she took me there, and she goes, so now I need you to tell the future something. And then I was thinking, I was like, of course, because I think it's time to go, right? She goes, you have another door to go to. I said, okay. She said, tell the future I have to read her lips again, because of all of the memory. She goes, tell the future that the dusk, when it's red, will be the blood from above. The rain, the sky, when it rains, when it's blue, will be the victory tears from our Father. She said, when the sky and it turns orange, there has been a there has been a agreement that's a settlement that has agreed that will drop below quickly after. He said, tell the men that we have a small window of time to get your physical form to the mountain. That if not at the mountain, we may have to start over. So I looked at her, and she had tears in her eyes. And I go, why would you cry? She goes, just know, where there is death, there will be life. She goes, hold your head up and never fear the future. And I said, but why would you cry about it? Is something gonna happen? She goes, yes. Your wildest dreams will come true. And you must speak louder. If you want something, you speak clearly, loudly, and ferociously. She touched my face like this and kissed me. And then I left, shut the door, and that was 8. So I kept walking, and this is a big ass hall with hella motherfucking doors. And there was a door that was wide open. So I remember seeing this door wide open, and there was music playing, and lights were blaring, and I stick my head in there, to go see what was going on, and I go through a portal. So in this portal in time, there is a celebration. There was this party. There was a celebration, and there was a beautiful ass man. Like, he was fucking beautiful. He looked like the sun himself, man. Oh my gosh, he was beautiful. And so I'm in there, and I'm like, no one can see me, right? And a little girl looks at me and she goes, no, only me. I can see you. And I looked at her and I'm like, so what's going on? She goes, it's the biggest celebration because I'm getting married. I'm like, what do you mean you're getting married? You're like 5 years old. She goes, no, I'm you. You're her. And she points at this woman who looked exactly like me. Fucking beautiful. Done up. Hair long. Fucking like beautiful. Oh my gosh. So freaking beautiful. I was like, I look like that? She goes, once upon a time. And I go, well, who am I marrying? She goes, you don't know? And I said, well, he's good looking. Hopefully he's kind. She goes, he's the wisest man on this earth. And then I told her, I said, there's no one wiser than I. I was like, I'm not gonna lie. God gives me all the answers to be wise. So there's no one. She goes, well, God loves him almost as equally. So maybe you should look. So I looked, and I had this fire in my eyes, and I saw this fire in my eyes, and I was lit up brightly. And then I looked at him because his face was to the side. So I felt like we were back in ancient Egypt. I kind of felt like that. But then I was like, it's not the same. Like, if you put your thumb in the air, the finger in the air, the wind blows differently. So it wasn't that area. It was somewhere different. So I wanted him to look this way. So I emitted a frequency of a sunflower. You know, the frequency of a sunflower, a lot of people can hear it, but it puts them into a daze. You're like in a daze and confused. So I emitted the frequency from a melanin of a sunflower, and he looked, and his eyes were like a lion, like fiery lion. Like he created a form within his eyes of a lion, and then I kind of got scared. Like, I wanted to run away because I was like, I'm not gonna be in here. I don't want to be in here. I was like, there's never been an equal, you know, from that perspective of identity. I was like, maybe I shouldn't be here. I don't want to see the past. And then she goes to me and she goes, my love, looked up at me and goes, you're not in the past. You're in the future. And I got so scared because I was like, how did I get here? This hall, and like I was just in the past with Sheba, and then I was like, walking in the hallway of time, and then this door was open, and this was the most beautifulest wedding. Like, it was fucking flowers everywhere and food and drinks, and everybody was dancing and singing, and there was gifts galore, and animals were there, and like these weird looking creatures that were like beautiful blue birds were there. So Avian, like, there was like really tall rock looking people. They had their skin look like rocks. It was just like a whole combination of a bunch of souls. And so I was like, I said, I'm gonna go walk up to myself. And she goes, I don't think you should do that. And I go, why not? She goes, you can see everything because you have the eye. And then I told her, I said, but I thought you said they couldn't see, no one could see me. And then she goes, yeah, no one can see you but you. Like, you see me, I'm as a kid, I see you as the past, and then you see you as the future. And my mind started to go so boggle woggle. I was like, oh my God. So then it gets to the point where um I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna go. And so I walk up to myself, and I look like I'm happy, right? I look happy, but I also look like almost still in disbelief, you know? Like, is this really happening or am I dreaming? Type thing. And I go and I tap myself on the shoulder and then go up the kundalini of the spine, and I said, it's me from the past. I want to say congratulations on everything that you have and that you have accumulated. Keep your heart pure and your mind open for the possibilities that God is not done giving. That God is not done giving. And then the man that was there looked at me like he saw me in the past, he saw me in the present, and he saw me more in the future. And he told me, he goes, my dear, when you combine your souls, not only are you beautiful, he goes, you are a rainbow. I'm like, you're such a poet. You're such a poet. So smart. So again, I get to that situation where I'm just like, okay, Angel, you're gonna make my boots come out. I need to cancel. I don't want this. Whatever. 4343. So, again, I was exploring these halls all night, all fucking night, all fucking night, all fucking night. I was exploring these halls, and those were the first two hall doors. I don't want to go into the other stuff because I feel like nobody wants to hear me talk for a fucking hour and 2 hours like I've been doing. Hear that. But then I'm like, it's my video diary too. So I'm gonna just say one more future that I saw. So I was left, went. I picked my youngest self up, 5, and hugged myself, and then I go, go easy on yourself. Take it easy. Don't push yourself too hard like you have been doing. I said that everything happens in its due time, and God understands. if you're tired and you need to rest. Just ask him and he will make it happen. And then I kissed myself as a child and then I left. So then I get to this door number 11. So I'm giving you numbers because the second door didn't have a number. It didn't have a number, it didn't have a time on the door. But this one had, it was a brown looking door with gold 11 on it, painted in gold. And the door handle was gold, and there was a slot in it, like this, like a mail slot that was made of gold too. So this door had a frequency to it, number 11, that was very intense. So my ears and my eyes started to ring when I walked up to this door. So I walked into the door, shut it, and I was in this beautiful room with a big old pool in the room, right? And it was like, I think like a pyramid or something like that. It was a pyramid. The reason that I think so is because I was looking down and I could see a bunch of trees and fruit and vegetation, almost like this beautiful, like foresty land. And I'm in this pool and I'm like floating. My body is floating and I'm butt naked.
You're so sweet, Mama. You're so sweet, Mama. You're so sweet, honey. You're so sweet, Mama. You're so sweet, Mama. You're so sweet, Mama. You want to go for a walk?
Walking, talking. We're gonna go for a walk, okay? I'll put clothes on, go outside, talk to the sun,
talk to the trees.
Okay, so I was floating on this in this pool, and there was a electrical force coming from my belly button. Mama. And it was an electrical force coming from my belly button, right? And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." And then I look up, and my eyes were like this blue electric color, and I go, "I've been waiting for you." And then I turned my eye off. And then the electrical force. She goes, "Come, come, come." So I get up out of this tub, and I put this beautiful like gold see-through robe on. And some woman came and handed me some slippers, right? She handed me some slippers and they were like gold sandals. I was like, "Oh, I've always wanted these freaking gold sandals." I was like, "These are beautiful." And she goes, "Right?" I said, "Right?" She goes, "Right?" And I go, "Right?" How cute. And then so I put the slippers on. She goes, "Come, come, come." She goes, "I need your code." And I go, "Okay." And I just gave it to her. And so she goes, "Perfect. Now, I want you to look into this mirror." And so I looked into the mirror and I was able to see like everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. So it was like having control of all of the forces. All of the forces. I'm talking about I could see into Uruguay. I could see into China. I could see into all the homes in Russia. I could see into every home. And she goes, "I need you to program the your timeline and your past into this mirror." And I go, "Okay, doop, doop, doop." And I put it in there. So I connected this thing and I went into it. And then my whole timeline pops up so she could see into this timeline. She goes, "Perfect. Now I'm going to start dropping the air." And I go, "Okay." She goes, "So don't be afraid when everything happens." And I go, we've already been talking about this for like 5 years or something like that. I'm not going to be afraid. When is it going to happen? I need to know quickly because based on my clock and the clock that's ticking down, we don't have a lot of time. And she goes, hun, time is irrelevant when you control ether. And I go, what does ether have to do with time? She said, everything. She said, everything. She said, everything. I'm like, what does ether have to do with motherfucking time? What does it have to do with time? She goes, everything. She goes, I'm going to show you one day how to code time from knitting ether. I said, you mean like a nonsense? She goes, yeah, Spider Woman. She goes, yeah, you Spider Woman. I was like, so are you telling me that time is a figment of my imagination because you created it? She goes, no, the creator created it. I just knit what he tells me to knit. I said, so time's not real? She goes, no. Haven't you noticed by the doors you've been going into that you can access any point in time? But I said, it's just through dreams. She goes, your dreams are closer to reality than your reality. Your dreams are closer to your reality than your reality. You control your dreams. Reality was controlled by man because man had taken over in his defiance. He is Satan. The accumulative disobedience of God got them kicked out of heaven. Hold on. The accumulative disobedience of God got them kicked out of heaven. They are Satan. They are the evil forces. They are evil. They made Eve ill enough to go to sleep. And when she goes to sleep, she cannot code time accurately. They take the code from God and they create what they wanted. They took their slave feminines in their harems to code their time for them so they could have more time. Don't do that, baby. Don't do that, okay? Don't do that, okay? Why do you do that? Are you exploring your tongue or? Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. She goes, but now that you are awakened, it's time to get to work. And I go, look, I kind of started to tear up a little bit. I go, I'm just sitting in an apartment with my daughter and my partner, and all I'm doing is putting out videos and trying the best that I can. But I go, I don't have nobody listening. I don't know what else I can do as a revolutionary or whomever I want to call myself, but I'm I'm sitting and doing it, I guess. She goes, so many people went back into time to sit in your presence, to sit in your classrooms while you spoke, that it broke. I said, what? She goes, you broke the matrix by speaking up as a matriarch to say that you were disappointed. So your timeline got so heavy from spirits going back and forth into your portal. Yeah, there they are. Yeah, you see them out the window. from going back and forth into your portal, into your home, into your apartment, that you broke the matrix that they created. And because you didn't want to see your kids fall, you prayed so hard to God that you started knitting the future. She goes, before you even knew that you could knit, you started knitting the future. By stories, by taking down certain news stations, by doing all of these spiritual things, you conquered the spirit. You conquered the spiritual realm so that the kids can make it easier to take over the physical, so that you could sit on your throne and knit the future. She goes, that's what you do. You sit and you knit and you talk. That is what you do. You talk what's in your heart and in your soul. And that's how you cut through the bullshit and you rewrite time. She goes, it's a glorious sight. And I even go back to the points where you're talking, when you're sitting in your bathtub and you're talking, when you go outside and you're talking, when you're just in your own element and you're communicating and you're thinking. She goes, some men heard your thoughts so loud that it gave them headaches. And they had to birth a new Ori to keep up with you. She says, some men heard your thoughts so loud that they had headaches and had to birth new Oris, new destinies. And you became their mother from birthing their heads. She goes, the whole system was whole rigged for figuring out who could birth more spirits. And nobody could keep up with you because you were the mother of time. And I go, okay, I'm enough. This is enough information. This is enough. I was like, whatever point in time that I am right now, I said, please, Father, let me get to this point. Because if I get to this point in time, that I'm this, I was like, my whole life would be beyond my imagination, beyond my wildest dreams. Because I said, this moment in time right here, this one, this is the key quintessential peak of information. I was like, this is where I want to be. I was like, what do I need to do to get here? What do I need to do to get here? And guess what happened? A fire started. Anytime I talked to God and started to pray, a fire started just from sheer praying. And when the fire started, I heard God, and he was talking to me, but he was singing. I don't know what song, but let's just say, you are so beautiful to me. Can't you see? You're everything I hope for. You're everything I need. You are so beautiful to me. And I go, Father! And then I go sit by the fire, and I'm putting my hands by, and I'm like, you're here. You're here. I'm here. We're here. I said, when are, and I couldn't get anything out. I was just like, so many words and blah, 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 wanted to come out. And then he goes, breathe. So I get my 3 big breaths. And then he goes, here. And the fire shot from the fire into my third eye and went, and it made a flower crown on my head. It was a crown of flowers of fire on my head. And I was like, he goes, you did it. He goes, once you activated the eye yesterday, both eyes at the same time, he goes, you set a trajectory in motion that you have fully grasped the understanding of the spirit and the physical. You understand the physical. He goes, Now we have to start combining forms. Then he goes, it may hurt. He said it may hurt. But he said, remember the storm and how I saved you, little dove. Remember how I saved you from the storm, little dove. So I got up and I had a refreshed understanding of who I was and that understanding. And it took me running away from the identity of Sheba because I didn't want to be associated with her. That identity. I didn't want to. It was very difficult for me to even fix my mouth to say this past information with me. This past information with me, it was very difficult. It was very difficult. But now that I got into these doors and stuff like that. All right, let's go. Let's go to the store. Ouch. Why you hurt me? Okay.
Hello? Hello? Is anyone home? Are you there? Are you there? God, it's me, Margaret.
Love you. Okay. Well, I think I'm good. I have enough stories or enough things that I told you guys. I'm already at an hour. She's been so patient with me. So I guess maybe the other stories and the other dreams, I guess I'll just keep them to myself. At least y'all got some. So, have a great day. I love you. I love your mama, your daddy, your goosey granny. Bye. Say bye. Bye. We're day and night. Day and night. Day and night. The lonely seems that free is mine and night. And night. Day and night. You're like a honey gold. Honey gold. Mommy's like a beautiful, dark, beautiful night gold. Golden night. What? 2. One more. No?